Hi, I'm lowlychrismarks. Now, I am in no way an expert on the topic of relationships. I seem to be really bad at them. And these are just things that I've learned from experience. They might not be related to a specific relationship, or they might be. And I don't really know where to start, so I'm just going to start saying stuff. Difficult than it needed to be. See how good my focus is right now? I am incredibly focused. It's really good. 1.5 base is a thing. You think it's not, but it is. You'll know it when you get there. None of this makes any sense. Stop expecting it to. You're just getting in your own way. As far as relationships, as far as love and everything goes, you never find it when you're looking for it. Funny how that works out. A lot of the time, not all the time, but a lot of the time, what you do isn't nearly as important as how you do it or why. I've done a lot of the wrong things, but I've done them for the right reasons. I can take comfort from that. You know what they say about good intentions. This is the most important one. Be honest. All of the time. Relationships need 3 things to work. Honesty. And I don't know what the other 2 are because, I don't know. Honesty just made it easier. I don't have to remember what I told who because everything I've told everyone is just the unvarnished truth. Funny. If you act like you have nothing to hide, it turns out people like you a lot more. Be nice. Generally, common sense will alert you when something is a lost cause. If you're not getting anywhere, don't stick around. Here's another one I figured out. Some members of the opposite sex just want to be friends with you, and they don't want it to go any farther than that. For the most part, they will let you know. One of my standard operating policies when it comes to relationships, but I would never make somebody do something that they are uncomfortable doing. Generally, if someone asks me, or if I ask someone, hey, are you alright with this? And they say yes, cool. If they say no, consider it dropped. Everyone has something that they're not willing to do. There's a lot of things I'm not willing to do. This varies from person to person. No one falls into a select category. Anything you learned in a past relationship probably won't apply to your present relationship. If you're wondering whether or not you're ready, you're probably not ready. Some people will let you know what works for them, and some people won't. The people who won't just like to be difficult. Some people like to be difficult. Some people are attracted to difficult. Between you and me, I think the people who are attracted to difficult are morons. Everyone has baggage. If you can't be respectful of anything else, maybe you should just stick to yourself for a while. Be respectful of the history that whoever you're with has. If you're doing research, I would suggest you not to take any of my advice. Take some of it, but not all of it. Seriously, I'm not an authority on this. I'm trying to figure out how many are in this. You don't have to be nice all of the time, but you should try to be nice all of the time. You get points for trying. If people realize you're making a conscious effort, that theory can actually be applied to relationships too, but it's actually very difficult. Try not to get too invested too quickly. There's a time period in your life that will occur, I'm probably somewhere midway through it right now, where you just need to be single and figure yourself out. If you can't figure you out, you need to figure you out before you wreak havoc on someone else's life. Find someone who's okay with how weird you are, but don't drop it all on them at once. It'll scare most people off. Find someone who revels in your weirdness instead of rejecting it, and generally if they're rejecting it, they're probably going to reject the majority of the things that have to do with you, yourself included. Some people like to play hard to get. Some people are hard to get. It's important that you learn the distinction. At the beginning of a relationship, it's good to establish what both of you are trying to get from it. It's okay to, step in to test the water. But don't wreck someone's life every time you do it, okay? Let people know, quickly and up front, what you're looking for or what you're not looking for. People date different ways for different reasons. Always have a contingency plan for what you're going to do if things fall apart, which they are wont to do. The situations where you don't feel like you need a contingency plan are the ones where you are most likely to need one. I have learned this from experience. There is no such thing as too nice. Nice guys don't always finish last. You can't fix everything with a clever line and a smile. No one is impressed by what you do for a living. I'm an emergency medical technician. I've run hot. That doesn't make me any better than anyone else. Yeah, buddy. You can be tactful. Such a thing as not nearly tactful enough. Almost everyone has the capacity to be tactful. Everyone has issues. Try and let people know about your issues. Because, you know, if you don't, they're not going to really know how to get along with you. I've had people tell me towards the end of something, hey, I had a problem with this. And I was like, well, why the hell didn't you tell me? Everyone has issues. Find out about your significant other's issues. Tell them about yours. And 9 times out of 10, people will respect that. The other 1 time out of 10, that's not someone you even want to be involved with, so run. Try not to be an insufferable douchebag. Entirely likely that you're just as good as anyone else. You can trust in luck if you want. I'm just saying that I'd much rather trust in skill, because if you're religious, great. If your significant other isn't religious, that's fine. If you're both religious, great. If you're both sects of very, if you're both very different religions, that's okay too. I believe that religion is a lot like genitalia. You shouldn't bring it up in polite conversation, and you shouldn't try and shove it down your children's throats. When you meet your significant other's friends, do everything you can to like them, even if they seem insufferable. Take what they have to say seriously. They've been around whoever you're dating for a lot longer than you have. The opinion of their best friend is about as important as your significant other's opinion on you. Best friend is an incredibly hostile person. He was bound and determined not to like one of the few people I've ever dated in my life. Actually, he hated all of them. Generally, people who have more experience than you and are therefore more knowledgeable. If you have questions, it's okay to ask somebody for advice. Try and be accommodating. Try and be somewhat flexible. If you realize you're not interested and you don't want the relationship to progress, it is best to bring that up, discuss it, and reach a conclusion on it at the time. The longer you wait, the more invested whoever you're with is going to become, and the more damaging the fallout will eventually be. If it becomes necessary to exfiltrate, try and do so in the least damaging way possible. This is often a lot harder than it sounds. Don't place bets on anything. Someone tells you something and says, hey, don't tell anyone about this, but don't tell anyone about that. Some people say that it's easier to beg for forgiveness than ask for permission. This is not always true, in my experience, which is limited. Here's a bit of advice for guys. If she wanted that dude, she'd be with that dude. She's with you for a reason. When it comes to, interpersonal activity, you don't have to descend upon them like a biblical plague. You don't always have to jam it in like you're charging an assault rifle. There are some things that don't need to be that aggressive. I can't believe I just used that as an analogy. Sometimes doing things slowly is the best way to do them. Different people will respond differently to the same thing. There is not a single thing, one thing that works for everyone. As soon as you feel like you've developed a logical algorithm on how to figure all this stuff out, some variable that you never saw coming will explode. I got around this problem by not developing algorithms. I hope this video has been helpful, enlightening, and not as disturbing as it probably will be.